God, the weather outside absolutely sucks donkey balls. I can't remember the last time we had this much rain in such a short period of time here in Jersey, but that still does not change the fact that it's Saturday! You know what that means? We're live! Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the one and only DJ Storms, and I would like to welcome each and every single one of you back here to the channel on YouTube.com. As of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy, and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle, Smell that? Do you smell that? That right there is excellence. Wait for it. Wait for it. To mankind! Woo! And this is the official Lightning Flash update for Saturday, May 28th, 2022. And even though the weather sucks outside, we are rocking and rolling right here on a Saturday at 1 p.m. We turn it up on a Saturday. That's right, here with DJ Storms on a Saturday. And we are kicking off Memorial Day weekend in the best manner possible. We kicking it off DJ Storms. Ayo! See what we got. We got Dylan Ketchum. We got Shooter. We got Dee, and we got Peanuts so far. A decent little crowd thus far, but I think we could do better than that. I think we can get a hell of a lot more people in here. Wouldn't you say so? So here's what I need y'all to do. Obviously, we're going to get into the news. We're going to get into the weekly show reviews. We're going over 4 weekly shows. We're going to go over Raw, Dynamite, Rampage, and SmackDown. We got a lot of news for various different shows, various different promotions. A lot of juicy topics, a lot of major news to discuss, a lot of major news to talk about. We're going to dissect everything. But first things first, before we get into the festivities here, a little bit of self-brand promotion and advertisements. Obviously, got to make sure that you follow me on social media, which is at HistoryMakerDJS. That is at HistoryMakerDJS, both on Twitter and the Instagram. That way you can see me and the pictures of this phenomenal new haircut I got going on and the new glasses I got going on. I feel like a new man. Over here. Please make sure, follow me on social media at HistoryMakerDJS on both Twitter and Instagram. Add me on Facebook for collaborations and business inquiries. Please send me an email. My email is, of course, StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. Please make sure you like the official DJ Storms business page, and I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms posse group on Facebook. That is, all of those links are in the description. Go check out my vlog from ISPW, that is Independent Superstars of Pro Wrestling. ISPW War to Settle the Score. It was a little independent show for the independent promotion known as ISPW here in New Jersey. It was at the Totowa PAL back on May 20th, a week ago, 8 days ago to be exact. I had a fun time. A lot of great matches, a lot of great stars. I got to meet up with some old wrestler friends that I haven't seen in a minute. And I'll be going to the one on June 24th, Friday, June 24th in Butler, New Jersey at around 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll be going to Butler because reportedly I'm hearing that the ISPW World Champion, Danny Morrison, shout out to him, he's a cool dude. He's going to be defending against Tommy Dreamer. Yes, you heard me correctly. Danny Morrison versus Tommy Dreamer for the ISPW World Heavyweight Championship. I'm very much looking forward to that match. That should be an awesome, awesome, awesome match. Very, very interesting that Tommy Dreamer is still going strong, even at 50 years old. So shout out to Tommy Dreamer right there. Also, in the link, you will find the link to the video from Thursday, the stream from Thursday on Earl Cole's channel. Earl Cole invited me, Dylan Catcham, who's in the chat right now, and Tyler from It's Still Real to Me podcast. Shout out to him. We were on the Wrestling Experience. That's right. We were on the Wrestling Experience with Earl Cole, where we dissected everything that went down this past Wednesday on AEW Dynamite, and we preview and predicted AEW Double or Nothing. Little wonky connection issues here and there. It wasn't as smooth as I expected it to be, but regardless of that, I still had a fun time. It was great to work with Tyler again. Great to finally meet Dylan, so shout out to Dylan there. And Earl Cole, he's always a fun time. I love working with Earl Cole. Earl Cole is one of the best individuals that I've met in this community, so shout out to Earl Cole. I'm pretty sure we're going to see him later on in the show. He's a great dude. He definitely deserves a lot more traction than he's getting right now. So, Earl Cole, keep up the good work, brother. You can find that link as well as the link to my ISPW War to Settle the Score weekend. And, of course, outside of all of that and all the links you can find in the description, when you come on into this stream, you got to make sure you hit the thumbs up. It is ultra, 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 ultra important to hit the thumbs up when you come on in, because it helps me out, it helps the stream out, it helps the video out, it helps the channel out. And make sure after you hit the like button that you share out the stream on all platforms of social media. It's very vital that everybody is aware that DJ Storms is live on YouTube. Tag me, put the link in the tweet, send it out. Let everyone know that DJ Storms is live on YouTube, so that way we can get as many people in here as humanly possible. It is ultra important that we get as many people in here as possible, because everybody needs a little bit of DJ Storms in their life. Without DJ Storms, let me tell you something, life would be absolutely fucking miserable without me. Everybody needs a little DJ Storms in their life. Please make sure you hit the subscribe button as well, and hit the notifications bell with a huge coup de grace. That way you will know whenever I pop up on YouTube, because whenever I pop up on YouTube, baby, it is the best time to be on YouTube. It is the only time you won't get to see this glorious sideburn chin strap combination, this beautiful mustache right here. Give me a minute. Since I got the new haircut, I got a nice fresh shave. I think that we should light it up properly on the channel. Of course, Earl Cole's not here, but Earl Cole, this one's for you. We're going to light it up here on the channel with a little and a dash of and a whole lot of because I like Campbell's soup. Like Campbell's soup. I'm so good. Everybody wants a piece of the Storms Meister. It's been quite obvious for a while now. Everybody wants a piece of me. I am just irresistible, people. Anyway, enough of the self-brand promotion and the advertisements. We're going to get straight into the news here. We got a lot of news to cover. Let's talk about a little light piece of news. Well, light to some, big to some, but in terms of NXT, it is pretty big. Nikita Lyons confirmed on an interview, I believe it was on The Bump, if I'm not mistaken. She showed off a knee brace. It was either an interview or an Instagram live stream, some along those lines. She showcased a knee brace, and she confirmed that her injury is not a work. Her injury is real, and she has a torn MCL, which is not fun at all. That is not fun at all. Knee injuries are among the worst kind of injuries that you could possibly get if you are a professional athlete. Either that or an injury to your head and neck. So I feel very bad for Nikita Lyons here, because Nikita Lyons, hands down, is probably the best thing about the women's division. Nikita Lyons is an individual that many people didn't know much about. We didn't think that she was going to be all that good, but she's actually turned out to be a fairly decent hand in the division. She's got a great look. She has intensity. She can wrestle. She can cut a promo just fine. And she's only going to get better as time goes on. She's not even at her peak yet. She's not even in her prime. So you know for a fact that Nikita Lyons, she's going to grow, she's going to mature, and she's going to be something. But many people thought that this was going to be her tournament to win. Many people thought that this was going to be Nikita Lyons' moment. This was going to be her tournament. This was going to be her big victory. And Nikita Lyons was going to be the individual to take the NXT Women's Championship off of Mandy Rose. Many people had it in their mind. I had it in my mind as well. Apparently, that's not going to happen. I don't know how long this MCL injury is going to take to heal. I don't know if it's a partial tear or a complete tear, but either way, it's not good. Either way, it's not good. I feel very bad for Nikita Lyons, and if I am running NXT, I'm very, very worried. Because, again, Nikita Lyons legitimately is maybe the only good thing about the NXT Women's Division. The NXT Women's Division absolutely fucking sucks. Everyone there either A, can't wrestle, B, is not seasoned enough, or C, is simply on television because they look like OnlyFans models. Toxic Attraction is being pushed because they look like OnlyFans models. And here's the sad part about it. I believe that they are actually very good professional wrestlers. They just haven't had the opportunity to showcase what they can really do. They're thrown out there in skanky clothing just because they look like porn stars. And that is what Vince McMahon wants out of professional wrestling. And it's quite fucking disgusting. I want to see what they can do in the ring. I don't give a shit how attractive you are, how unattractive you are. I care about if you are a good professional wrestler, how you are booked, what is your character portrayal. I don't care about OnlyFans models being thrown out there on NXT, WWE, AEW, whatever professional wrestling television show there is. I want good professional wrestling. I don't give a shit about the attractiveness of someone. But Nikita Lyons easily was the best thing about the NXT Women's Division, in a division that absolutely sucks dick right now. Nikita Lyons was the one saving grace, and now she's gone. I don't know what's going to happen, to be quite honest with you. And I really wish Nikita Lyons a speedy recovery, because she is the only individual right now in the NXT Women's Division that I'm looking at that actually has a decent future. Everyone else, no. Maybe Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany Stratton's getting better, slowly but surely. I'll give Tiffany Stratton her just due. She's getting better, but I don't know. I don't know. Something tells me that they're going to make Tiffany Stratton into the new Alexa Bliss, and she's going to become just as bad of a professional wrestler as Alexa Bliss. I don't know. But Nikita Lyons, I wish Nikita Lyons a speedy recovery there. Sasha Banks and Naomi. We got a shit ton of news about Sasha Banks and Naomi. Various sources reported, including WrestlingNews.co. WrestlingNews.co, they reported that Sasha Banks and Naomi's suspensions from WWE are currently without pay. The Sasha Banks and Naomi storyline continues to develop. Aside from Sasha Banks unfollowing Vince McMahon, Roman Reigns, and the Usos, among other individuals, and Naomi removing all WWE references from her Twitter bio, WWE has also removed Sasha and Naomi's Facebook page from the Facebook app, and they removed both of their merchandise from WWEshop.com. WrestleVotes, at WrestleVotes on Twitter, who've been very accurate as of lately, WrestleVotes commented on this back on Sunday, May 22nd. They tweeted out on Sunday afternoon, and I quote, "After talking to a few people, I gather this Sasha/Naomi situation is going to get worse before it gets any better. While the majority of the support online is in their favor, it's quite the opposite with management." Ringside News has reported that both women's contracts are set to expire in August of this year. Dave Meltzer reported that Sasha Banks was mad because Ronda Rousey took her spot at WrestleMania 38. Really? Oh, really? Yeah, like I didn't fucking know that. Dave Meltzer reported on F4WOnline.com, and I quote, "Sasha has always had issues. She was mad that Ronda got the WrestleMania spot. It was planned for months. I wrote about it. She got moved down, and they gave her the tag belts as kind of like a concession because she got moved down. Okay, if you're looking at it from Sasha's side, they lied to me, right? The whole Sasha Banks and Naomi situation is just becoming absolutely fucking ridiculous at this rate. WWE is just showing you how fucking petty they are. And more and more people are starting to say that it's a work. It's not a fucking work. Shit like this is not a fucking work. If all of these individuals are reporting on it, a lot of these individuals said that Cody going to WWE was a work. It did not turn out to be a work. Then we got WWE taking down their Facebook pages from Facebook, and then we got WWE removing their merchandise. That's not a fucking work. I'm sorry. That shit's not a work. If that shit was a work, this would have been a story that actually fucking developed on WWE television. Kind of like MJF and Wardlow. MJF and Wardlow developed on AEW television, in which MJF said Wardlow is not under contract and he's going to stay home. They removed Wardlow from AEW's roster page on AEW.com. That was part of the story. Nothing that we've seen leading up to this inevitable walkout with Sasha and Naomi called for this scenario to be a work. Nothing that we saw on television even hinted that they were going to walk out. It's not a fucking work. It's time that people put that shit to bed. It is not a fucking work. Especially considering what happened here with Dave Meltzer reporting that Sasha was mad at Ronda Rousey. Think about this. For anyone that calls Sasha a self-entitled bitch or comes up with these lame excuses to try and invalidate her feelings, I want you guys to think about this. Imagine being in Sasha's shoes. Imagine being promised a match against the same individual that robbed you of your first ever WrestleMania win. A match against the same individual that won that triple threat match back at WrestleMania 32. The same individual in the same fucking building, in the same fucking ring, in which said individual, Charlotte Flair, defeated you and Becky Lynch in a triple threat match to become the first ever WWE Women's Champion of the modern era. Think about this. Think about Sasha being promised a match in which she's going to avenge a loss in a match 6 years ago at WrestleMania 32, a match which she should have won. Sasha should have won that match. Not Charlotte. Sasha should have won that match at WrestleMania 32. Why they didn't give it to her, I don't know. You know why they didn't give it to her? Because of Charlotte Flair. And then people want to wonder why I hate Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair is a self-entitled bitch, not Sasha. Everything that people hate Sasha for, Charlotte is actually said individual. Sasha's not the self-entitled bitch. Charlotte is. Charlotte couldn't give a shit about the division. Charlotte only cares about herself. Charlotte only cares about making herself look good. Sasha does not care. Sasha actually has passion. She doesn't care about simply herself. She wants the overall state of the women's division to thrive. And now we're in a scenario where Sasha was supposed to get the match against Charlotte at WrestleMania, a match in which she would finally avenge her loss from WrestleMania 32 against Charlotte Flair and get her first WrestleMania win. And then WWE wants to bring Ronda Rousey back because they bend over and take it up the ass from Fox. Fox wants Ronda Rousey. WWE is trying to harass Ronda. Will you come back? Will you come back? Will you come back? Charlotte hears the ramblings about Ronda coming back. And as soon as Ronda coming back was confirmed, Charlotte Flair goes to WWE Management and she pitches the match and the feud between herself and Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania 38. Ronda gets the match. Ronda and Charlotte have one of the worst matches of the weekend outside of Lashley and Omos. That match sucked. And Sasha is relegated to a fucking tag team title fatal four-way match in which no one gave a shit. The crowd was fucking dead for that match. They only popped at the end because Sasha finally got her first WrestleMania win, and it was long fucking overdue. Why wouldn't Sasha be pissed? After everything that I just named, why the fuck wouldn't Sasha Banks be pissed at that? Why wouldn't you? You're telling me she doesn't have a right to be pissed that she was fucking shafted for Ronda Rousey? After everything that WWE promised her, they constantly shaft her every single step of the way because she doesn't have the drawing power of Ronda Rousey. Many people prefer her over Ronda Rousey, and that's a fucking fact right there. Why wouldn't Sasha Banks be pissed off? Why wouldn't Naomi be pissed off? Naomi's another one. Don't you think that it would have been a great story to tell if Naomi beat Sonya Deville and then won the Royal Rumble and then won the SmackDown Women's Championship from Charlotte Flair? Or maybe, better yet, what if Sonya Deville won the Queen's Crown tournament and she got a shot at then SmackDown Women's Champion Bianca Belair? What if she won the match against Bianca Belair and she became SmackDown Women's Champion? Then she entered into the feud with Naomi, and Naomi won the Rumble and took the SmackDown Women's title off of Sonya Deville. You're telling me that that wouldn't have been a great story too? Both of these women have just equal amount of reasons to be pissed off. Why wouldn't Naomi be pissed off? Why wouldn't Sasha be pissed off? It's not about doing a job. It's about making the division better. It's about making the division healthy. It's about a thriving women's division. Ronda Rousey, she does not equal a thriving women's division. They're bringing back Ronda Rousey because they have no other choice. They need to bring her back because they want to drive up the ratings. They want to appease Fox. They want to drive up merchandise sales. Meanwhile, Ronda Rousey hasn't drawn a fucking dime since she's been back. Yeah, Ronda Rousey was really going to sell out WrestleMania 38. Meanwhile, they didn't even peak 70,000 individuals for both nights. They didn't peak 70,000 individuals on night one or night two. Yeah, Ronda's a draw, right? In a stadium that seats 100,000 plus fans, Ronda Rousey could not draw shit. And people wonder why they had to cancel Money in the Bank, why they needed to move it to the MGM Arena in Las Vegas, why they needed to take it out of Allegiant Stadium. Why? Because the shows fucking suck. Each fucking division, not just the women's division, every fucking division is booked poorly. The women's division being perhaps the most poorly booked division out of any division in the WWE. Tag team, mid-card, main event division. The women's division is probably the worst booked division in WWE right now. So after all of that shit, why wouldn't they be pissed? Why would anyone think it's a work after this shit? The only way that I can see one of these individuals, Naomi, I can see going back for one reason and one reason only. The only way that Naomi goes back is if she throws it in WWE's face and says, you know what I want? I want the Bloodline as my allies. I want to be in that faction with my husband, with my cousins, and I want to be the SmackDown Women's Champion. I'm taking that title off of Ronda Rousey. That's the only way that Naomi would ever agree to come back. Sasha, she don't give a shit. Sasha, I have a feeling, is 100% gone. Unless WWE complies with Naomi's demands and does that and gives her the SmackDown Women's title at Ronda Rousey's expense, I do not see Naomi going back either. Why wouldn't they have a reason to walk out? People need to put it to bed. It is not a fucking work. It's not. This shit is 100% serious. It is a shoot. It is as real as you could possibly fucking get. And if it's a work, you know what? If it's a work, then it goes to show you how desperate WWE is for attention, that they can't generate any legit buzz or interest with their own creative writing. And they need to write a shoot. They need to write a work shoot. Meanwhile, you take a look at AEW, they don't need any work shoots. They just go out there and put on a great show with serious storylines. Professional wrestling is at the epicenter, and everyone is happy. At least the smart people are happy. I mean, you're a fucking retard if you're not loving AEW right now. Let's be real. If you don't love AEW, you're not a pro wrestling fan. Plain and simple. But as far as this situation goes, why wouldn't they have a reason to be pissed? Especially Sasha. This scenario, it really does continue to get worse. Russell Votes was 1,000% right. And the fact that management is not in support of them, it goes to show you how deluded management is. They think that they can do no wrong. They think that everything that they do is sunshine, rainbows, and unicorns. We're management. You do what the fuck we say, or else you are entitled, you're selfish, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, management are the individuals that don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're the individuals that are unprofessional. They're the individuals that are disappointments. They're embarrassments, not Sasha and Naomi. What a fucking joke. How fucking petty is WWE, where they legitimately need to remove Sasha and Naomi's Facebook pages and merchandise. Absolutely fucking pathetic is WWE. And more, the more and more I read on this, the more and more that I hope that they walk. They need to walk. If they go back, unless Naomi goes back and becomes a member of the bloodline and wins the SmackDown Women's title from Ronda Rousey, I would lose a little bit of respect for Naomi. Same thing with Sasha. I would lose all respect for Sasha if she goes back there. They need to fucking go. Walk. The company doesn't give a shit about you. Walk. Go to AEW, go to Impact, go to NWA, go to House of Gold, go to anywhere you want and prove them wrong. Prove them wrong. Look what happened with Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre went out and proved WWE wrong. He came back and he's been treated fairly decently. Who's to say Sasha and Naomi can't do that? Moving on, Dave Meltzer, he also reported that there is no close date set for Kenny Omega's in-ring return. Kenny Omega, as many people know, got hernia surgery last month, and he is currently working backstage as a television producer, but it is unclear when he will make his in-ring return. Like I said, he's recovering from hernia surgery. He got the surgery he needed on his back as well and his shoulders. So Kenny Omega right now, he is not recovering as quickly as people expected, or he's not getting all of these surgeries at once. What he's doing, he's getting the surgeries one at a time, and he's taking his time in the recovery process, which I have no problem with. That right there is perfectly fine. After everything that Kenny Omega has done, not just throughout AEW and the world title run he's had, but the course of his career, everything that's been going on with Kenny Omega as of lately, Kenny Omega is long overdue for an extended vacation, and it sucks that he has to get these surgeries and he can't just enjoy himself rather than he has to worry about getting these surgeries. But at the same point in time, Kenny Omega, he needs a long extended break from the ring. And Kenny Omega, you know what? Take all the time you need. Take all the time you need. Kenny Omega, he does not need to come back anytime soon, and AEW is just fine. AEW is just fine right now without Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega does not really fit into anything other than the Bullet Club or the Undisputed Elite versus the Young Bucks and Adam Page once Adam Page joins the Young Bucks again. That storyline, when it inevitably comes to fruition, that's the only storyline right now that Omega fits into. Maybe we get a match with CM Punk, who fucking knows. Should be interesting. I know we're going to get a match with Kenny Omega and Adam Cole. That's a match that many people want to see. That, you know, is going to come sooner rather than later. That right there is the one match that it's Punk and it's Cole. Those are the top two matches right now that I want to see with Kenny Omega. But as of right now, take all the time you need. There's absolutely no rush. Absolutely no rush. So I hope that Kenny Omega is doing all right. I have a feeling he should be back by full gear later this year. Fightful provided an update on MJF's current status with AEW. They reported that both MJF and Tony Khan have already sat down to talk out the issues that they've had. However, the sentiments haven't necessarily lasted with MJF. The site learned that MJF's feelings about possibly going to WWE is not a work, and it's a subject that he's already weighed on right then and there. It just further confirms to me that it's actually a work. Fightful continued by saying there has been at least some progress on his future, as there have been open meetings of possibly giving him a contract extension. Many people, however, don't believe MJF and Tony Khan are very close to reaching an agreement. MJF is said to be leaning towards going to WWE. However, Fightful has been told that he's not 100% on leaving AEW. Fightful reached out to Tony Khan and AEW representatives for more, but they have not heard anything back yet. The more that I read this, the same thing with Sasha and Naomi. Now, Sasha and Naomi, the more I read it, the more that I feel it's not a work. The more I know it's not a work. But the more that I read what's going on with MJF, the more that I know that it is a work. Again, I'm going to say the same thing that I said the last time that I talked about this. Why exactly would anyone in AEW give away what MJF is doing? MJF is the only individual in the world of professional wrestling right now that has kept kayfabe alive. He takes his craft so seriously, more serious than anyone in the industry right now. MJF is as passionate as you could get when it comes to being a heel. MJF lives the gimmick. He's the modern day Ric Flair. He absolutely lives the gimmick. There is not one single time that I can tell the difference between MJF as a person and MJF the character. That's how good he is at playing this prick that he's portrayed for so many years throughout his career. And he's not even 30 yet. He's 26. He's going to be 27 soon. MJF is right now at the peak of his career, and he hasn't even won a fucking title. MJF has kept everything with him and everyone else as well. MJF himself and everyone else has kept everything that goes on behind the scenes with MJF close to the chest. No one fucking knows except for Tony Khan, maybe a few executives, and MJF himself. That's it. Those are the only people that know. Matter of fact, I wouldn't even say that the executives know what's going on. It's just Tony Khan and MJF. Fightful reached out to Tony Khan. Fightful reached out to AEW representatives. Why would they tell Fightful what's going on? When has anyone ever gotten a legit inside scoop on what MJF is doing? Tony Khan even said that he doesn't mind MJF talking about his contract situation on AEW television. I want you guys to think back of what happened. Think back to what happened back in December when Big Swole became a fucking race-baiting cunt. And Big Swole, that fucking bimbo that she is, tried to say that, there's a diversity issue in AEW and how Big Swole just acted like a complete fucking retard. Lio Rush called out Tony Khan, unjustifiably, might I add. Tony Khan then called out Big Swole. Lio Rush, like a fucking retard that he is, he tried to call out Tony Khan by demanding that he apologized, and he got shut down. He got shut down, and his little 6-month deal with AEW, it expired, and he was back on the independent scenes once again. He was back with New Japan. He was back with MLW. I don't even know where he is right now. He just dropped off the face of the earth. Tony Khan did not mention anything about that, and he did not comment one fucking bit to any of these fucking sources. Lio Rush even said he talked things out with Tony Khan privately. Lio Rush shot himself in the foot. If Tony Khan wasn't okay with MJF talking about his contract issues and the potential of him leaving in 2024, don't you think that Tony Khan would ultimately say something and he would shut that shit down? He wouldn't allow MJF to do something like that? Tony Khan knows what he has in MJF. Tony Khan knows that MJF is just being MJF. This is a scenario of MJF being MJF. There's no other way to describe this. MJF is not going to go to WWE after this current deal is up. He's going to sign a new deal. Now, maybe after that deal is up, maybe once he turns 31, 32, maybe he goes to WWE. But that right there is a big maybe, because I don't know what the landscape of WWE is going to look like at that time. As far as I'm concerned, Nick Khan's going to be the owner of WWE at that time, and Vince McMahon, he could either be retired or he could possibly be deceased. I don't want him to die, but at the end of the day, I don't want anybody to die, because I don't want to wish death upon anyone and their loved ones are taken away from them. I wouldn't wish that upon anybody, but it's something that should be discussed. Nick Khan, regardless, he could very well be running WWE at that time. MJF is also close friends with Bruce Pritchard as well. He's got Bruce Pritchard on speed dial. Now, that was actually a shoot, but again, he's MJF, he can say that. The deciding factor that I have a feeling is going to be for MJF, it's going to be Cody Rhodes. Cody and MJF are supposedly still very good friends. They still talk. They are still very tight, even though Cody is working for WWE and MJF is working for AEW. You have to imagine that WWE, they kind of have a feeling. They kind of have a feeling that Cody Rhodes could very well be the deciding factor in who comes over from AEW or New Japan or anyone who comes over to WWE. Cody Rhodes could be the deciding factor there. Cody Rhodes, I said, could be the game changer. If Cody Rhodes is treated well and Cody Rhodes becomes the world champion and Cody Rhodes is made to feel special, then at the end of the fucking day, Cody Rhodes could very well be the catalyst in some other people going to WWE. Possibly a Jade Cargill, possibly an MJF, possibly a Wardlow, possibly an Ethan Page. That could very well come to fruition if WWE plays their cards right with Cody. Cody has been booked perfectly thus far. Cody has been booked just right. And I don't know how long it's going to last, but so far so good with Cody. I don't know where Cody goes after this Seth Rollins feud. It only makes sense for Cody to go and face Roman Reigns, but Roman Reigns already has a few opponents lined up for the next big 3 shows, which are Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, and Clash at the Castle. We will be getting into that momentarily after I'm done talking about MJF here. But Cody Rhodes, logically the next step would be the WWE Championship. The only other thing that I could see Cody Rhodes doing after this feud with Rollins is over, which it should end next week at Hell in a Cell, the only thing that I can see Cody Rhodes going into after that is a potential match with Edge. Edge versus Cody at SummerSlam. With this current Edge and this version of Cody, that would be a great fucking match. That could very well be one of the matches of the year if they want it to be. I think Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins are going to put on a match of the year inside Hell in a Cell when we inevitably get to the show. But Cody Rhodes, that could be the deciding factor in seeing whether or not MJF could very well go to WWE. Is it going to happen in the next couple years? No, I don't see it. Because unless MJF was legit about going to WWE, he would not be talking about it live on television. He's doing that because that's what he does. That's how he gains traction. That's how he gains attention. MJF is known for breaking the fourth wall and saying shit that normally shouldn't be said on television. That's who MJF is. There's no way that MJF would be going to WWE and blatantly talking about it on television if that's legitimately going to happen. Why would anyone related to AEW or in direct correlation or association with AEW, why would they reveal anything about MJF? Think about that. That's all you need to know. It's a work. I'm telling you right now, it's a work. Unless I see MJF on WWE television, unless I see him walk out on WWE television on that ramp, it's not a work. Or it is a work, rather. Unless I see him walk out on a WWE stage on a Monday Night Raw or a SmackDown, this shit is a work. Same thing with Sasha and Naomi. Unless I see them walk out on SmackDown or Raw on television anytime within the next couple months, this shit is not a work. MJF is not going to WWE now. Maybe in about 5-6 more years, maybe. Maybe that's a possibility. But we'll have to see what the landscape of WWE is like at that time, and we'll have to see how well Cody Rhodes is treated. MJF, he's not going to WWE now. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. Dave Meltzer, he was in the news a lot as of lately. He reported a lot of good scoops. Dave Meltzer last week gave us an inside scoop as to who Roman Reigns' opponent would be at the 3 big stadium shows, or now it's 2 stadium shows and a regular arena show, which is Money in the Bank, because Money in the Bank is now taking place in Allegiant Stadium, and I fucking love that WWE had to move it. It goes to show you how bad their product is. Roman Reigns' next 3 opponents read as follows. Roman Reigns versus Matt Riddle at Money in the Bank, Roman Reigns versus Randy Orton at SummerSlam, and Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre at Clash at the Castle. This is a rather interesting schedule for Roman Reigns. Randy Orton is probably the best babyface version of himself that we've seen in his entire career. This run with Matt Riddle, this tag team with Matt Riddle has made Randy Orton into a great babyface. And Orton is not a very good babyface, but this right here, this babyface Orton is a great Randy Orton. Matt Riddle, on the other hand, Matt Riddle is probably the most intriguing match out of all these three matches. We kind of expected Drew McIntyre, and we kind of expected the match at Clash at the Castle. Randy Orton, same thing. We kind of expected that, but he's already a made man. No one really cares too well. However, Matt Riddle is the one that sounds the most intriguing, because Matt Riddle, after this run with RK Bro and him now going off into a singles run, now it's time for Matt Riddle to really break out and showcase to everyone what he can really do. And I'm very much interested in that. That match is probably the most intriguing match of the entire year, Matt Riddle and Roman Reigns. Because that match right there, that match can take Matt Riddle to the next level. I don't give a shit what you think of Matt Riddle. I don't give a shit what kind of deluded agendas you have against Matt Riddle, or what kind of bullshit that these fucking retards spoke about him during the speaking out movement. I don't believe a single fucking thing that was said about Matt Riddle. Bullshit. I don't believe it. Keep that shit to yourself. Do not bring that shit up with me. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Matt Riddle is a world championship type wrestler. Matt Riddle is a world-class athlete, and Matt Riddle should easily be their top babyface right behind Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes right now is their best babyface. Cody Rhodes right now is top priority babyface, but Matt Riddle, he can be right underneath there if you book him correctly. And you know what? I don't even give a shit about the Drew McIntyre-Roman Reigns match. That match in itself, I don't even think needs a championship. If I'm booking this, I would absolutely give Matt Riddle the championship. Now, I don't know how they're going to do this. I'm not sure if Roman Reigns is going to be defending both championships, or he's going to be defending two championships separately. I don't know. Reportedly, according to recent reports from WrestlingNews.co and Ringside News and Meltzer, reportedly, according to all these dirt sheets, the brand split has officially ended. Now, I'm not going to believe that. I'm going to be quite honest. I don't believe it. Unless I see Roman and the Usos defend both of their championships at the same time, unless I see that shit happen at the same time and not separately, I'm not going to say the brand split's over. Roman Reigns needs to defend both championships at the same time in order for me to believe that the brand split is over. I don't trust WWE at all. I don't know how they're booking this, but if they are indeed booking Roman Reigns to defend both championships separately, I can absolutely see Matt Riddle winning that match. And I would absolutely put the title on Matt Riddle. I would absolutely put the WWE title on Matt Riddle if I'm booking this. You want to make a new star? You go with Matt Riddle. I know Cody Rhodes is going to win Money in the Bank. I understand it would have been a better story with him cashing it in on Roman in an admirable way, a la RVD at SummerSlam. But Matt Riddle right now, he's been waiting there for a long time. Cody still is new over there. He's been there for, 2 months now? I think we can wait with Cody. I think Cody would be better suited for winning the Royal Rumble, or maybe holding on to Money in the Bank and cashing Money in the Bank in at a different time. He could cash it in at a different time going into WrestleMania. Maybe we see Cody Rhodes cashing in on one championship. Meanwhile, Drew McIntyre, maybe he takes the Universal Championship from Roman Reigns and goes on to fight the winner of the Royal Rumble. I don't know how they're going to do that, but either way, I think Cody can hold off on winning a world championship for now. I think Matt Riddle winning the world championship, that would really be a great shocker. That would be a great sense of unpredictability, and it would do what I said Roman Reigns' world title reign should do: build a new star. Drew McIntyre is already a made man. Cody Rhodes, in a sense, he's already a made man too, and he hasn't even won the WWE Championship. Matt Riddle is not a made man yet, and if you want to make a new star, you have Matt Riddle go over on Roman Reigns. So I would absolutely pull the trigger on Matt Riddle at Money in the Bank in Las Vegas. Can you imagine the pop? That would be big. The other two matches, they should be good. but I don't see Roman losing to Orton. And as far as Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre at Clash at the Castle, I mean, it's pretty much all but confirmed that Drew McIntyre is going to beat Roman Reigns. I just feel it. I just feel it at this rate. It would make no sense for Roman Reigns not to drop the title to Drew McIntyre at Clash at the Castle. I don't know how it's going to play out, but we'll see what happens. These matches all should be great matches. But in terms of who goes over, I mean, I would do Matt Riddle over Roman Reigns at Money in the Bank. Do we see Matt Riddle win both titles? I don't think so. I just have a feeling that WWE is going to have Roman lose both titles separately rather than together, even though he should be defending them together, and the brand split should officially be over. I got a report from Dave Meltzer again on F4WOnline.com, and he reported that the Usos winning the Raw Tag Team Championships last week on SmackDown was actually a last-minute decision, and the match was originally supposed to end in a DQ. Now, I'm not sure why it was supposed to end in a DQ. I'm guessing because of the fact that they wanted to do another matchup at Hell in a Cell, but I have a feeling that Randy Orton's injury, which is not a work, by the way, Randy Orton's injury is actually legit. Randy Orton's injury is legit. I fully believe that Orton's been having problems with his back. I mean, at some point, it takes a toll on you after 20 years in the fucking business. There's no doubt in my mind that Orton was at least feeling something. He looks great, but there's no way that you could look that good and feel that good at the same time. Something has to give, and it was Orton's back. So I fully believe that Orton's back injury, that made WWE pull the trigger on the Usos winning the championships because Orton needs some time to recuperate. And how bad the back injury is, I don't know. But that right there, that I feel as though was the deciding factor as to why the Usos won the championships as a last-minute decision. Stephanie McMahon. I've actually been wanting to talk about this for a little while now. Stephanie McMahon came out on Twitter saying that she was stepping away from WWE to focus on her family, and this is only a temporary leave of absence. However, interestingly enough, according to WrestleNomics, as reported by Sportskeeda, a WWE employee said that over the past few weeks, her responsibilities have been taken down a notch, and during her absence, Nick Khan will be taking over her responsibilities. Now, originally, I didn't really think much of this. I thought that Stephanie McMahon really just wanted to focus on her family, and she was just tired. She was stressed out, which I get. I get tired. I get stressed out. I take personal days. You got to take some time for yourself to recharge your batteries, recuperate, rejuvenate, recharge, whatever it may be. I get that. And originally, that's what I thought it was. But then I heard WrestleNomics, reported by Sportskeeda, WrestleNomics said that a WWE employee said that over the past few weeks leading up to her announcement that her responsibilities were taken down a notch. Why would her responsibilities be taken down a notch? The only thing that I can align this with is Triple H. And I'm not talking about his health issue. I'm not talking about the cardiac arrest scare. I want you guys to think about what's been going on over the last number of years. Over the last number of years, we have seen Stephanie McMahon significantly take a back seat in terms of being an on-screen figure. Stephanie McMahon has really transitioned into being a backstage correspondent, a backstage representative, and she mainly focused on backstage work, head of talent relations, whatever you want to say, whatever you want to call her. She focused on that. The only time that she would make her presence known on WWE television would be if there is a WWE draft, and she comes out and announces who gets what participant from Raw or SmackDown. And she wasn't even at the draft last year, towards the end in October. She wasn't even there. Why would her responsibilities be taken down a notch? Why would she be taking a back seat? Triple H and what he did with NXT was absolutely perfect. Everything that went into NXT was absolutely perfect, and everything that Triple H did was exactly how a wrestling promotion should be run. We never saw authority figures on television. We never saw the individuals running the show as the star attractions of the show. Triple H has been in Stephanie McMahon's ear for a long, long time. Triple H has been in Stephanie McMahon's ear for quite some time. And Triple H, he has been educating Stephanie McMahon on what is in right now in professional wrestling. And slowly but surely, over the course of the last few years, Stephanie McMahon has really become the more favorable McMahon. And I'm not talking about Triple H. I'm talking about out of the three McMahons that have been in the WWE, Shane, Vince, and Stephanie, it was Stephanie that ended up turning out to be the most likable because she didn't overexpose herself on television. She actually transitioned into a backstage role, and she was all about giving the fans a better product, especially a better women's division. Stephanie McMahon has been a big advocate for the women's division. She brought in Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, and Sasha Banks to Monday Night Raw back in the summer of 2015, where they came up from NXT and they became the star attractions on Monday Night Raw. And those three women have risen to prominence and they've become major stars. Stephanie brought that in. Stephanie even announced that there was going to be an all-women's pay-per-view. They announced that it was going to be an all-women's Royal Rumble match, the first ever women's elimination chamber. Stephanie McMahon was a part of giving the women's division substance. And you have to imagine she learned that from Triple H. Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard, they don't give a fuck about women's wrestling. All they care about is tits and ass. Stephanie is the opposite. Stephanie's like Triple H. Stephanie wants women's wrestling to thrive. Stephanie wants a better women's division. Stephanie wants equal opportunity. That's what Triple H is all about. And at the end of all of this, Stephanie McMahon, in a sense, became a mini version of Triple H. And you'd have to imagine that Stephanie McMahon, she has gone to Vince personally and tried to talk to him about these types of issues. But the problem is that Vince McMahon is so fucking hard-headed, his skull is like a diamond. It's impenetrable. No one can break Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon would sell out his own family if it meant keeping the vision, his vision of WWE alive. Stephanie McMahon, you'd have to imagine that she's been trying and trying and trying and trying to break through to her father for so many years, so many months. And Triple H has been in Stephanie McMahon's ear. Triple H has been trying to tell Stephanie what she should be doing. Stephanie is following Triple H. Stephanie is becoming educated on what to do in the modern professional wrestling era and industry. And Vince McMahon, he won't even take advice from his own daughter. Why did Stephanie McMahon take a leave of absence? Because she is just sick and fucking tired of the bullshit. She's sick and tired of the bullshit. She's just given up for the time being. She cannot put any more effort towards trying to convince her father any more about what he should be doing because her father is a stubborn bastard. Why did Stephanie McMahon take a leave of absence so suddenly? Don't you think Stephanie McMahon was pissed off about the Sasha Banks Naomi situation and how much she cares about the women's division along with Triple H and how much she wants better for the women's division? You don't think that pissed her off? Why was her responsibilities taken down a notch? Because Vince McMahon and Nick Khan, they realized that Stephanie McMahon is starting to act more like Triple H. Oh, we can't have anyone defying us. We can't have anyone shutting our ideas down. We can't have anyone changing our vision. We're going to take your responsibilities down a notch. And it's fucking ridiculous. It's so fucking pathetic. It's so pathetic. I would not be shocked at all if Stephanie McMahon took this leave of absence specifically because she was sick of all the bullshit. She has had enough stress. She's had enough turmoil with her own fucking father, trying to tell him how shit should be done, trying to tell him that he's wrong. And what does he do? He shuns her away, he shuts her down, and he removes part of her responsibilities. So she's had enough, and she took the leave of absence. to focus on her family because she cannot put up with her father anymore. That's it. Triple H is back there working with Vince McMahon. He's back there in Stamford, Connecticut, filing away papers and sharpening pencils now. He has no power whatsoever, Triple H. He's nothing more than a butt puppet for Vince McMahon. But on the inside, Triple H knows that he was fucked over. Stephanie has had enough. Stephanie needed to walk away. She can walk away. With Triple H, I think that Vince McMahon would have Nick Khan unleash hell on Triple H if Triple H was the one to walk away. But as far as Stephanie McMahon goes, Stephanie had that power to walk away because what's he going to do? Fire me? It's a sad fucking scenario. It really is. Vince McMahon and Nick Khan drove Stephanie McMahon to take this leave of absence because Stephanie McMahon, she grew passionate about the product. It's not just about money to her. It's about putting on a great product for the fans. Stephanie is the only fucking McMahon working in WWE that actually gave a shit about the fans. And on top of that, Stephanie even fired Bruce Pritchard. And you have to imagine Bruce Pritchard was in Vince's ear trying to tell him the issue with Stephanie and how she's been acting more like Triple H. And you know what happened with Triple H? Triple H defied us. Absolutely pathetic. I don't blame Stephanie McMahon for taking that leave of absence at all. And you are not going to convince me otherwise. Stephanie McMahon has had Triple H educating her. They removed some of her responsibilities, and they drove her to take a leave of absence because Stephanie McMahon has had enough trying to convince Vince McMahon that he's wrong. Vince McMahon is a fucking hardhead. And my final piece of news, I wish I was reporting on more positive news, but this news, really, really disappointing. Very, very unnecessary. Rather disgusting as well. Ringside News was in the news this week, and not for the right reasons. They tweeted out a disrespectful comment towards Nyla Rose. It read, and I quote, "You all mad at me, but at Tony Khan put the women's strap on a male." Of course, this is referring to the fact that Nyla Rose is a transgender female. She was born a man, and she transferred over to being a woman, and Ringside News thought it was funny to throw some shade at Nyla Rose there. Nyla Rose responded to this tweet, and she actually made a lighthearted joke about it by saying, he, you said strap on. Now, this drew a shit ton of negative backlash, in which Ringside News, they trashed various fans. They trashed Chris Jericho. They trashed Tony Khan himself. They had some DMs back and forth with Tony Khan. Steve Carrier then came out and admitted to tweeting this shit and saying that it's stupid to have the first AEW Women's World Champion be a male, which, by the way, he's wrong, by the way. Riho was the first AEW Women's World Champion, and she was a biologically born female. Nyla Rose was the second AEW Women's Champion. So right there, Steve Carrier, he's acting like a piece of trash, and he's factually wrong on that comment. And then it started to come out that he was drunk, he was intoxicated, then he was smoking a joint on a Facebook live stream. He called his wife a fucking bitch, and shit just got very fucking messy. Evil Uno then took time to respond, and he simply tweeted, "Fuck Ringside News." I don't know what the fuck happened here. I don't know what the fuck caused this. I don't know how the fuck this all came out. I honestly don't know why this even happened. This was completely fucking unnecessary. Now, in regards to Ringside News' tweet, obviously, people think different ways. Like me, I'm going to say this right now. I think that if you are born something, then that's what you are. That's just basic common sense. That's just basic shit going on. If you were born a dude, then you're a dude. If you're born a chick, you're a chick. I'm not going to call someone a squirrel if they identify as a fucking squirrel. I'm not going to... It's like fucking Ice Age. Remember Ice Age 2, The Meltdown, where Ellie, the mammoth, played by Queen Latifah. It's actually a very good movie. That's probably that was the best Ice Age movie out of all of the Ice Age movies. Ice Age 2, The Meltdown. Queen Latifah played Ellie the Mammoth, and she identified as a possum, but she's really a fucking mammoth. She's a fucking mammoth. She's not a fucking possum. It's the same shit here. However, there's a way to go about shit without being a fucking asshole. And let me tell you something. People throw around transphobia, they throw around racism, they throw around sexism like fucking confetti. Pretty much, everything's racist, everything is sexist, everything is transphobic. When in reality, it's not. They're just fucking soft. 99% of the time, that shit ain't true. And none of that shit is prominent. But in this case, this was blatant fucking transphobia right here. This was blatant fucking transphobia, and this was completely fucking unnecessary. And I actually applaud Nyla Rose. I applaud Nyla Rose for being as professional as possible. And it goes to show you the type of individual that Nyla Rose is. I don't understand the hate on Nyla Rose. I really don't. Personally, I don't get why anyone would go and attack Nyla Rose out of the blue like that. I really don't. I'm not saying that she's a phenomenal professional wrestler. I like Nyla Rose as a wrestler. She's not my favorite, but she's not a bad hand in the women's division. But in terms of being a personal individual, in terms of her personally, I don't think I've ever heard anyone say anything bad about Nyla Rose. As far as I'm concerned, Nyla Rose is a very down-to-earth, a very, very, very cool, chill individual. She has a lot of support backstage. She's funny. She makes lighthearted jokes, and she's a fun individual to be around. And that right there is what I like about Nyla Rose. She doesn't push any gender agendas. She doesn't go out there and spin narratives. She doesn't go out there and she doesn't start shit personally. She's not a transgender baiter like Big Swole is a race baiter. She's not anything like that. Nyla Rose is perhaps one of the most unproblematic people in the entire wrestling industry right now. So why the fuck would you go and attack her like that? And especially in that manner. That is so fucking disgusting. It's so fucking unnecessary. And then it comes out that Steve Carrier is drunk and he's high. I don't understand what prompted this. Was this rage building up inside for X amount of days or X amount of weeks? What was this all about? What was this all about? Especially after the past couple of weeks that we've had with multiple shootings going on. This was completely fucking unnecessary. This shit did not need to be thrown out there in the universe. A blatant transphobic comment right there by Ringside News and Steve Carrier. It did not need to happen. It did not need to happen. That shit should have been kept in the drafts bin and then deleted when you had the chance. This shit was completely fucking unnecessary. This was completely fucking inexcusable. Why would you go out and attack an individual who is as unproblematic as they can be just out of the blue like that? You know, when an individual is as unproblematic as Nyla Rose is, more support will be on her side. I'm in support of Nyla Rose, and I'm fully behind Nyla Rose here because Nyla Rose is, from what I've seen, a very good person. So at the end of the day, Ringside News, they shot themselves in the foot. They shot themselves in the foot, and they just fucked up their entire fucking brand. USA Today was even partnered with Ringside News. They revoked their partnership with Ringside News, and justifiably so. Chris Bay even indirectly called out Ringside News. Now, Chris Bay, aside from being a very good pro wrestler, Chris Bay, if you pay attention, Chris Bay he's in the same category as Nyla Rose. He's a very chill, very down-to-earth individual. He's not a race baiter. He's not an agenda pusher. He's not a narrative spinner. He goes out there. He lives his life. He does his shit. He does his job. And he's as unproblematic as can be. He's just like Nyla Rose. He's unproblematic. He's chill. He's cool. He's a very cool dude. The one thing I love about Chris Bay is if you take a look at Chris Bay's tweets, Chris Bay is a very, very, very knowledgeable individual. He's a very wise individual. He indirectly called out Ringside News, but in perhaps the most professional manner that he could possibly do it in. And this is what I love about Chris Bay. Chris Bay tweeted out indirectly towards Ringside News, and I quote, "Everyone is entitled to an opinion, but try saying your opinion in the mirror and listen to the words and content. Then ask yourself if that's the energy you want to put out into the world." End quote. That's some deep material right there. That's some really knowledgeable and wise material to think and process and consume. In an age in which hatred is very, very prominent, in an age in which everyone is an asshole nowadays, and I say it all the time, everyone's a fucking asshole nowadays. You got to search far and wide to find an individual that is a good person, unfortunately. The world has become a very, very, very dark place, full of selfish, full of very manipulative and self-deluded douchebags that care only about themselves. In a world like that, I honestly think we could all work on being a lot more respectful towards everyone else, myself included, because I am certainly not a saint, and I certainly do not have a right in saying that everyone needs to work on it while I work on nothing. I have to work on plenty of shit myself, and I've been trying to do that in my personal life as well. And I'm pretty sure that some of you watching me have done the exact same thing. But everyone should really focus on being a hell of a lot more respectful towards individuals. Chris Bay, very, very wise material tweeted by Chris Bay. So shout out to him on that one. As far as Steve Carrier goes, I don't know what the fuck's going on with him. I don't know if he's depressed and he's drowning his sorrows in weed and alcohol. I'm not sure if he's just getting in the Memorial Day mood. I'm not sure about any of this shit, but this shit right here, this is just one of the many reasons why I chose to go straight edge and why I refuse to take a single sip of alcohol. I refuse to smoke a joint. I refuse to smoke a cigarette. I'm doing none of that shit. I'm remaining clean for my entire life. I have been legal to drink for over 2 years now, and I still, to this day, have not taken one single solitary sip of alcohol. Why? Because I am not going to be caught in a scenario like this. I do not want to be drunk, so drunk that I don't even know what the fuck I'm saying, and I think I'm the king of the world and nothing can affect me. I'm not going to think that I'm invincible, even though I know damn well, deep down, that I have no right to be saying this shit, and I am not impervious. I am not impervious to anything. Any type of criticism, I'm not impervious to any type of hate. I can't say whatever I want without consequences. Steve Carrier, if this is the case, and he is abusing alcohol, he's smoking a joint, he's acting like an asshole, he's drowning his sorrows and depression in all of this substance, and he legitimately has a substance issue, he needs to get fucking help. Steve Carrier needs to get help. He needs to check himself into a program that Moxley checked himself into. He needs to put down the fucking joint. He needs to put down the fucking booze. He needs to get help. Because Ringside News, most of the time, their memes are very funny. Their news and exclusives are very, very accurate. They're on point. But this was completely uncalled for. This was completely inexcusable. And if Steve Carrier is a problem, he needs to get help. He has since deleted the tweets, but he hasn't issued a statement on it. I'm not sure if they're trying to pull a Tessa Blanchard situation. And trust me, you're not going to pull a Tessa Blanchard situation. Ringside News fucked up in the worst possible way. They shot themselves in the foot. They fucked up. And they need to take responsibility for that. We need a public statement by Ringside News addressing this and expressing their apologies towards Nyla Rose for that comment. Completely fucking unnecessary, completely fucking uncalled for, should not even have been a thought. It should have stayed in drafts and then deleted. Should never have made it to public Twitter. Never. Those are the news, rumors, and reports, people. Those are the news, rumors, and reports. I greatly appreciate all of you sticking by me. We got plenty more to talk about. We're going to talk about Monday Night Raw. We're going to talk about Monday Night Raw, which was a terrible fucking show like it usually is. I can't remember the last decent episode of Monday Night Raw that we got. And to be quite honest with you, more and more I watch Monday Night Raw, the more and more I wish I never even created this brand. That way, I don't even have to talk about Monday Night Raw. But I'm doing it because I feel obligating. I'm doing it because I feel obligated, and I feel like I would be letting you guys down if I didn't discuss everything Monday Night Raw related. So we are going to discuss Monday Night Raw, which was a terrible fucking show from start to finish. Matt Riddle was actually one of the best things about Monday Night Raw. Matt Riddle come out, he took the mic, and he goes, "I'm here with a heavy heart, man. Randy is my mentor. Randy is my bro. And to be honest, the last couple years have been hard for Randy. Randy could barely walk. He's been having problems with his back, but he knew how much the match meant to me, and he knew how much it meant to you. My hats are off to the Usos, but to have Roman help them, that guy is nothing but a tribal piece of trash. And by the end of my career, I will get my vengeance. Randy, I love you, bro. And I don't know if RK Bro will ever be a thing again, but if everyone could stand up and chant RK Bro, and you got the crowd to chant RK Bro with them. This was a very nice promo right here. And I really do appreciate the fact that they've been making Matt Riddle sound more serious the last couple of weeks. Last couple of weeks, if you've taken note, Matt Riddle has been serious. Matt Riddle has been straight up. Matt Riddle has been focused. He's not been cracking many jokes as of lately. Matt Riddle is starting to take on more of a serious form, and that right there is what I can appreciate. Because if that's the case, then Matt Riddle will be taken more seriously as a main event player, which he is a main event player. And if I'm booking this, I would absolutely give Matt Riddle one of the championships. Even if you're not doing it for one title, even if you're doing it for both titles, I would still give it to Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle winning the title would get perhaps the biggest pop in WWE all fucking year. That would be one of the greatest moments in Matt Riddle's career. And that would absolutely make a new star. I would absolutely give Matt Riddle the championship at Money in the Bank against Roman Reigns. Will it happen? I don't know. So from there, we got Matt Riddle and the Street Profits versus Sami Zayn and the Usos. It's a decent little match. Probably the best match of the night. So the Usos isolated Montez Ford before Ford made the tag to Riddle. He lit up Sami Zayn and took out Jimmy as well. Forearm after forearm, exploder suplexes, double Broton. We had Angelo Dawkins come in with a back elbow. We had a Tope Con Hero by Ford. Riddle with a draping DDT. The Usos then walked off. Sami Zayn was confused as to why the Usos were leaving him. And the Usos ended up walking away as Sami took an RKO. And Matt Riddle got the win. Decent little match. Right outcome. Right winner. Matt Riddle is on the road to becoming a singles competitor. And he is on the road to a match with Roman Reigns, which should be a fantastic match. This is probably the most intriguing Roman Reigns match since the match with maybe John Cena. This is probably Roman Reigns' most intriguing match since his match with John Cena last year at SummerSlam, if I'm going to be quite honest. Bobby Lashley, he came out to issue the Almighty Challenge. I got an Almighty Challenge for you. Almighty Challenge is for anyone to do what I can do and not fall asleep during Monday Night Raw, because I'm telling you, I was this close to falling asleep. So we talked about winning last week and how him and Omos are far from over, but tonight is the Almighty Challenge, so why don't we bring MVP and Omos out? So MVP and Omos came out. Omos looked great in his suit, probably the best that he's looked when he's not wrestling. Lashley told MVP to shut up, and he wants a match with MVP, and the winner gets to pick the stipulation for the rematch between Bobby Lashley and Omos at Hell in a Cell. MVP gladly accepted. Lashley told MVP that he made him, and he's putting him in the Hurt Lock. Omos and MVP then went to the ring. MVP tried for a cheap shot, but Lashley took him out. And that was that leading up to their inevitable match later on. I don't give a shit. This match sucks. This feud sucks. I don't even know why it's still going. I'm still trying to figure out why exactly they broke up Bobby Lashley and MVP. It was the perfect combo. It was like Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman. The only other individual that Paul Heyman has had that same connection with is with Roman Reigns. Why did you break up Lashley and MVP? Lashley has looked like a fucking bum. He's looked like a bum ever since this feud with Omos started. We had Judgment Day cut a promo. Damian Priest took the mic and in a very, very passionate and very, very deep voice, he went, "All rise," and show the proper respect to the Judgment Day. Really, really, really good stuff by Damian Priest. He talked about Edge offering an opportunity to anyone intelligent enough to join Judgment Day. Edge gave us freedom. Edge set us free. It's like everyone in the back waiting for instructions. The only attribute you are missing is carnage. Clearly, you have no courage, said Damian Priest. You have to help yourselves before we can help you. Rhea Ripley then took the mic and she told Morgan to stop listening to the peasants on Twitter and start thinking for yourself. Save yourself like I saved myself. Rhea Ripley, she did not have any conviction. She didn't have any emotion with this promo. I don't know what's going on with Rhea Ripley. I'd like to hope Edge is working with her, but Rhea Ripley does not sound, she does not sound very convincing. Really, she doesn't. Edge then cut a promo saying that Judgment Day is truth, and the truth will set you free. Judgment Day is physical and mental power to rewrite your career. I wasn't handpicked like a John Cena. Little tease for a match that could potentially come. I'm a miracle of my own hard work. You're afraid of success. You're all sheeple. We are not afraid. Wake up, folks. Headbutt glass ceilings to bits. Who's going to be our next member? Is it Tommaso Ciampa, Corey Graves, Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, Finn Balor? Maybe it's you, AJ. You can start taking control. Hey, your kids can even call me Uncle Edge. The choice is yours. Choose wisely. Rhea Ripley, like I said, still sounds overly scripted, but this was another solid promo by Judgment Day. The only thing that I hate about this is the fact that Judgment Day is being overexposed. I didn't want to say it, but I'm starting to feel it. Judgment Day is being overexposed. There's only so many weeks that you can come out there and say the same shit over and over and over again. And that is exactly what I feel this is. Judgment Day is coming out there, and just like the Wyatt family, they're coming out there and saying the same shit over and over and over again. This shit needs something different. We either need some more substance or we need a lot less Judgment Day. The less we see Judgment Day, the more special they will feel. Because right now, they are very, very, very overexposed. Way too much Judgment Day. We need them to scale it back a little bit. We need them to only show up once every couple of weeks. Maybe once every other week. If they take 1 week on and 1 week off and 1 week on and 1 week off, that would be great. We just cannot overexpose them. We see way too much of them. That's my only gripe. So then we get a mixed tag team match between Liv Morgan and AJ Styles versus Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest. Styles with a sliding knee on Priest, Morgan with a suicide dive. Priest then came back with snake eyes on the apron, and the heels took over. Judgment Day took over, and then coming back from commercial, Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan went at it. Rhea Ripley caught a springboard codebreaker, but Edge put Ripley's foot on the rope. Styles then took out Edge and Damian Priest. Ripley then rolled up Liv Morgan for 2. And then all of a sudden, Ripley was on the ropes. Liv Morgan went for Oblivion, but Edge held on to Ripley's belt, and Ripley did not go down with the Oblivion. Liv Morgan went to the floor. Ripley pinned Liv Morgan for the win, and then Judgment Day swarmed the baby faces, and they took out Edge. Did Edge and Damian Priest. They took out Styles, while Rhea Ripley took out Liv Morgan with a Riptide. Judgment Day again dominates, and they are doing some pretty solid heel work. Again, they just need to stop overexposing them. It's too much Judgment Day. I'm sorry, just too much Judgment Day. You can't overexpose them, because if you do so, shit is not going to work out well. Jerry Lawler, Jerry the King Lawler, he hosted the King's Court with Veer Mahan. Lawler then asked Mahan came out to the ring. Lawler asked Mahan, what is the secret to his success? Mahan didn't answer. Lawler then asked why Veer targeted the Mysterios. Veer didn't answer. Lawler then said, Rey Mysterio said, when you walk your dog, people then pet you. Veer then said he's not here to joke around. Rey is a legend, but he's too busy worrying about his little boy, and I took them both out. Hey, Jerry, is that fear I smell on you? Instead of me explaining to you what I am, why don't I show you what I am? So he made these slow motions towards Jerry Lawler. All of a sudden, we see the Mysterios come out, and they attack Veer. Veer then manhandled both of them. The Mysterios tried to keep Veer at bay. Veer stayed on his feet. Veer then backed down. And Veer, obviously, he's going to be in a feud with the Mysterios. I'm not sure if it's going to be a one-on-one match between him and Rey, or if it's going to be a handicap match. I don't know. I don't know what's going to go on with Veer and the Mysterios. But either way, I don't really give a shit. I don't understand how anyone could give a shit, to be quite honest with you. And if I'm booking this, again, I don't even know. I don't even think people give a shit about Veer. Veer's career is pretty much dead. No one gives a fuck about Veer. Legitimately, nobody gives a fuck about Veer. I don't think anyone here has legit care for whatever Veer Mahan is doing. I've seen no buzz around Veer. He's just there. He's just another guy on the roster who's just there. Speaking of individuals on the roster who are just there, Nikki Trash. I don't know why Nikki Cross is still going by Nikki ASH. Karrion Kross has been gone from WWE since November. He's wrestling in MLW, New Japan. He's wrestling everywhere but WWE. If he's wrestling everywhere but WWE, why the fuck is Nikki Cross still going by Nikki ASH? Why? It's fucking stupid. It's legitimately fucking stupid. This shit needs to end. Give me Nikki Cross back. Give me the psychotic banshee from NXT. Oh yeah, that's right. You won't ever do that. Why? Because that was Triple H's creation. Fucking ridiculous. Seriously, it is fucking ridiculous. Enough of the Nikki Ash character. Give me the psychotic bitch, Nikki Cross. She was even taking on Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss, who is undoubtedly the worst women's wrestler in the company right now. I cannot stand Alexa Bliss. Well, why is Alexa Bliss still employed by the WWE? Oh, yeah, that's right, because she looks like a porn star. That's why. What do you think happened? Alexa Bliss, she defeated Nikki Trash with the Twisted Bliss. Alexa Bliss is a terrible professional wrestler, and Nikki Ash is a terrible character. Who gives a shit? I don't. I'm fucking worried right now. I am legitimately worried that we're going to see Alexa Bliss take the title off of Bianca Belair. If it's not Becky, it's going to be Alexa Bliss. And we're going to be right back in the same boat in which we were in several years ago. Why? Because WWE is incapable of creating new stars. Alexa Bliss sucks. Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes versus The Miz. What do you think happened here? Did we get a clean ending? No. Did we get Cody Rhodes getting the win? By pinfall or submission? No. What do you think happened? Seth Rollins came out, shoved Cody off of the top rope when he was going for the moonsault, and he caused a DQ. The best part about this was Rollins taking Cody's weight belt. Cody gave a fan at ringside his weight belt. Rollins took the weight belt and whipped the shit out of Cody. And here's the thing, this is a thick belt. It's not like a small belt like that big. It was like that big, the belt. It's that big. So he fucking whipped the shit out of him. A crack right across the back. Now that was awesome. That I will say was great. Other than that, the ending was shit. I don't know why we needed to see this match again. I don't know why the fuck we needed Cody and The Miz again. You would have been better off if Cody wasn't even on the show. Or you would have been better off if Seth Rollins attacked Cody backstage. That would have been just as effective. Why did we need this match? And why exactly did we need Rollins coming out causing a DQ? Enough of the fucking DQ finishes. DQ finishes need to be something that happens on a rarity. I do not want to see another DQ finish in WWE for the rest of the fucking year. Will it happen? No, of course not. It's going to happen again. Why? Because WWE is fucking clueless at what they do to book their show. They're clueless. Ezekiel versus Chad Gable. Again. What do you think happened? Otis and Kevin Owens were ejected from ringside by the referee. Ezekiel then rolled up Chad Gable for the win. This shit sucks. Owens then challenged Ezekiel to a match at Hell in a Cell. Should be a decent little match, but holy shit. Why exactly should anyone care? This storyline and Ezekiel's character has been so fucking one-dimensional. Kevin Owens, you know where Kevin Owens needs to be? He needs to be as a babyface fighting Austin Theory for the United States Championship. That's where he needs to be. Heel Kevin Owens, it's run its course. Turn Kevin Owens into a babyface. Turn him into a babyface, and let's get him in the U.S. title picture. And as far as Ezekiel goes, how about you develop some actual fucking character for Ezekiel rather than he's Elias's younger brother? The Ezekiel character is so one-dimensional to a point where no one gives a fuck. We need a better character direction for Ezekiel. Give him some legit character development rather than constantly just saying he's Elias's younger brother. This shit needs to end. Just have Ezekiel beat Kevin Owens, have Owens go babyface, have Owens feud with Theory, and have Ezekiel do whatever. Hey, Ezekiel could even feud with Austin Theory. You just need some actual reasons for people to care about Ezekiel. And here's the thing. I am actually impressed by what he's doing in the ring. He's not the best, but in terms of how he is in the ring, he has gotten a lot better in the ring. And if he worked his ass off to get better in the ring, and this is the best that WWE has in terms of a character standpoint for Elias, Ezekiel, that shit right there goes to show you that they never gave a shit about him to begin with. So we got Owens and Ezekiel at Hell in a Cell. Who cares? Bobby Lashley versus MVP. This shit pissed me off. It's like they legitimately wanted to piss me off. Lashley, like a fucking retard, went after Omos on the outside, and the ref counted him out. MVP got the win, and Lashley looks like a fucking idiot. MVP now gets to pick the stipulation for Lashley and Omos's match at Hell in a Cell. My God. God help us all if he picks a Hell in a Cell match. God fucking help us all if he picks a Hell in a Cell match. Holy shit. Asuka versus Becky Lynch. And if Becky won, she would enter the match at Hell in a Cell. This was one of the dumbest endings. If Lashley's ending to his match, if the ending to the match between Lashley and MVP was stupid, holy shit. This was retardation to the fucking max. I cannot even begin to tell you how fucking ridiculous this was. This was a horrible fucking ending. So Becky Lynch, she landed right in Bianca's lap. Becky was being punched and kicked by Asuka. She landed right in Bianca Belair's lap, who was sitting at ringside, right? Bianca Belair was then waving. She was waving to Asuka. And Asuka, like a fucking bimbo, she acted like Bianca Belair wasn't fucking sitting there. Asuka, like a fucking bimbo, acted like she didn't see Bianca Belair waving when it was clear as fucking day. Bianca was waving like, hey, don't do anything, don't do anything, don't do anything. Asuka, like a fucking retard, goes for a roundhouse kick on Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch moves. Asuka hits Bianca Belair. Bianca goes down. Asuka, like a fucking idiot. Oh, I'm sorry, Bianca. Oh. And then Becky hits an exploder suplex on Asuka on the floor. Asuka then beat the count. Listen to this. She beat the count, and then she just went limp. She just laid there. Asuka beat the count. It's like as if she fell off the fucking top rope through the announce table. This wasn't anything. It was a fucking exploder suplex on the fucking floor. She slid back in the ring. She just laid there and waited for Becky Lynch to roll her up for the win. She just laid there. She laid there like a fucking dead corpse waiting for Becky Lynch to roll her up. This was undoubtedly one of the dumbest fucking endings that I've ever fucking seen. This was fucking horrendous. From Asuka to Bianca to Becky, no one looked good here. The only person that looked good was Becky. And I find it funny how people try and tell everyone that, oh, Becky's not selfish. Becky's not an entitled bitch. Really? So you don't think that Becky Lynch knew what's going on with Asuka and what's going on with Bianca? You don't think that Becky Lynch couldn't stand being out of the championship title picture? Now she's in the match at Hell in a Cell. Now Bianca's going to win by pinning Asuka, and we're going to get another Becky and Bianca match at Money in the Bank. Meanwhile, it should have ended at WrestleMania. But yeah, Becky Lynch is not a selfish bitch, right? Bullshit. Here's a spoiler for you. The only reason why Bianca won the Raw Women's title is because they had to. There was legit no other choice. Becky would have no competition after Bianca Belair. If she lost, no competition for Becky. It's not like there's any competition for Bianca anyway, but they had no choice but to give Bianca the win. Becky didn't give a shit. Becky wanted to be the Raw Women's Champion, and Becky couldn't stand being out of a championship match on a pay-per-view. If Becky Lynch actually gave a shit about the division, and Becky actually gave a shit about the women that she's working with, then she would have spoke up, and she would have said, no, let Asuka and Bianca Belair have their match. She would have advocated to stay out of the championship title picture. Becky Lynch is the most selfish cunt in the entire WWE right now. She may even be worse than Charlotte. Becky Lynch may very well even be worse than Charlotte. Don't give me this bullshit that she doesn't have power backstage. She could kick a puppy and she would still be looked at as a fucking hero backstage. Everyone is in favor of Becky Lynch. She's the most favorable individual backstage in the women's division right now. Do not give me this bullshit. She is no better than Charlotte. She is no better than Bill Goldberg. She is a selfish, entitled cunt. And you, anyone that tries to deny that, you are just as bad, and you're the fucking problem with the WWE. And I fucking damn you for it. I damn you for defending Becky Lynch. One of the dumbest endings I've ever fucking seen to a match, ever. That was Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw just pisses me off, and so does anyone that defends Becky Lynch, anyone that defends Monday Night Raw, anyone that defends WWE. Pisses me off. Just pisses me off. The product absolutely sucks. I appreciate you guys sticking around. We are 11 likes strong. If we could get some more people in the chat, let's get as many people in here as possible. Let's see if we can get to at least 15 likes. We have plenty of material going on in the next 2 weeks. Starting tomorrow, we got the rundown for AEW Double or Nothing 2022 with Mitch Kovsky. Shout out to Mitch Kovsky. He's going to be coming on my channel. And then on Memorial Day at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, I will be flying solo for the Rewind for Double or Nothing. Me and Mitch Kovsky are going on YouTube Live for the rundown at 2 p.m. tomorrow. And then on 2:30 on Memorial Day, it is going to be me flying solo for the Rewind for Double or Nothing. Then on Tuesday, we got a big rundown at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Tuesday, May 31st, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Jay Aletto is coming back on the channel. Jay Aletto is going to be joining me on the channel to preview and predict Hell in a Cell. And then Thursday, next week, Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, I'm going to be going live solo for the rundown for NXT in Your House. Even though no one really gives a shit about NXT, I feel as though it's a topic that I should cover, and I could get my channel and my eyes out there in the eyes of many individuals. So set your calendar dates for all of those streams. Starting today, we got the Lightning Flash update, and we're going to go over Dynamite in just a minute. And, of course, we got the rundown, the rewind, and then 2 more rundowns after Memorial Day. So set your calendar dates, people. AEW Dynamite. AEW Dynamite. This was a great go-home show. This was an excellent go-home show, much better than last week, and much better in terms of pacing, giving the proper amount of time. Really good stuff. Really good stuff right here from everyone that was on AEW Dynamite. Sean Spears and Wardlow, they had a steel cage match to kick off the show, and MJF was the special guest referee. MJF came out wearing Speedo shorts and a sleeveless referee shirt. He looked great. MJF then rang the bell, and he quote-unquote forgot the keys to unhook Wardlow's handcuffs. It was essentially a handicap match. MJF attacked Wardlow while Wardlow was still handcuffed. MJF then taunted Wardlow by spitting in his face. What did Wardlow do? Like a fucking beast, Wardlow snapped the handcuffs, and Wardlow was free. He took it to Sean Spears, sent him into the cage. Spears was then on the ground. Wardlow hit a big swanton bomb. MJF did not count. He just looked at Wardlow and just smiled with his face. It's great. Gotta love MJF. So MJF then hit Wardlow with a low blow, and then Spears hoisted him up on his shoulders. Wardlow was dropped with the C4. And MJF tried for the quick 2 count, but Wardlow kicked out. Spears then went out of the cage, and he got some chairs. He then took the chair, and he was going to hit Wardlow with it. MJF was holding Wardlow by the arms, and he was going to hit Wardlow with it. Wardlow moved. MJF got cracked right in the top of the head with a steel chair. He fell like a sack of potatoes, and MJF was knocked the fuck out. Knocked out cold. So, from there, Spears, he knew he fucked up. Spears knew he fucked up. Wardlow was behind Sean Spears, removing the straps. Sean Spears turned around like, motherfucker, I'm about to get powerbombed. Great facial reactions. Wardlow then with the powerbomb symphony, powerbomb on the chair, and Wardlow pinned Sean Spears as Bryce Remsburg came out and counted the 1, 2, 3. Afterwards, security tried to come out to take out Wardlow one by one, but Wardlow, he took out all of them and he powerbombed this one poor soul into the fucking cage. And he went right down the gap, the opening between the cage and the ring. Slid right down the gap between the cage and the ring. It looked fucking brutal. It looked fucking brutal. Awesome fucking stuff right there. So then Wardlow, this was a great visual right here. Wardlow was on top of the fucking cage. It was like he reached the summit. He reached the mountaintop, right? He was on the top of the cage, and he stared at MJF as MJF was cowering away on the ramp. This was very fun. It was perfectly booked. The only thing I would have changed is I would have had a throwback to Dude Love and Stone Cold Steve Austin from Over the Edge in 1998. 1998, if you remember, Vince McMahon was the referee. He was knocked out, and Stone Cold pinned Dude Love, and he moved Vince McMahon's arm up and down to count the 3 count. That would have been a much better ending than this. That's the only thing I would have changed. Other than that, it was perfectly booked. Perfectly booked. Tony Schiavone interviewed CM Punk and Hangman Page for their face-to-face confrontation. CM Punk came out wearing a Mutants shirt. Now, I'm not familiar with Mutants, but I don't know. Maybe I'll check them out. I think that they're like a little bit of a knockoff band of Misfits, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'll check it out at some point, but that was actually pretty interesting. I haven't heard of Mutants in a long time. The last time I heard of Mutants was probably back in high school, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. How long have they been around? Either way, a hell of a lot better than the shirt that he wore last week. He's a dick for wearing that last week. But Punk then said that this is the biggest moment of his career, and it happened in Vegas. He was talking about the pipe bomb. He goes, I plan on walking out the champion on Sunday. Hangman then said, I said exactly what I was going to do. Did I stutter? There is nothing that you can do to take this title away from me. Punk then put over Page, and he tried to tell him that this isn't personal, this is business. Page then said, I'm going to embarrass you, but not at Double or Nothing. I meant right now. I can imagine myself at the top lighting a pipe bomb and watching it blow up in your face. But I can't do it because the more that I think about it, the more that I realize that that's exactly what you would do. And I don't think that's the right thing to do right now. I almost pity you. Being a champion is not just about what happens in the ring. It's about what happens in the back when the camera stops rolling and when you go through the curtains. You know, you talk a big game about workers' rights, but you've shown the exact opposite since you've gotten here. And I love this line right here. This was a great line. He goes, this Sunday, I am defending All Elite Wrestling from you. Great line. Punk then remained calm and he said, you're talking in circles. If you're so upset, you'll have to do something about it. Those roads that you traveled to get here, they were paved by me. The world that you created happened because I gave you the blueprint for it. And you know what? You're going to shake my hand right now. If you're going to be mad, you should be mad at yourself. Punk then shoved Hangman. Page then punched Punk in the face, and Punk went down. This was undoubtedly the best promo of Adam Hangman Page's career. Everything about this promo was fucking great. The intensity, the realness, everything that just went into this promo. It was absolutely perfect. Both men played their roles incredibly well, and everything just flowed very nicely. Really good stuff right here. I am loving what is going on, and I'm telling you right now, this could very well be the best AEW World Heavyweight Championship match of the year between these two. I am very much looking forward to it. This is going to be great. Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston, they took on Private Party. This was a very fun little sprint of a match. Always great to see Kingston and Moxley together. Private Party, they came in with some double team offense on Moxley. Coming back from commercial, Mark Quinn with a crossbody and a stalling dropkick on Moxley. We had stereo suicide dives on Moxley and Kingston. We had a diving stunner by Isaiah Cassidy and a shooting star press, beautiful shooting star press by Mark Quinn for a 2. Spinning back fist connected by Eddie Kingston on Mark Quinn. We then had a diving elbow strike, or double elbow strike rather. Both men hit elbows after elbows after elbows. And then Jon Moxley hit the paradigm shift, and Moxley and Kingston get the win in a fun little sprint of a match. Afterwards, we had a big brawl between the two factions. The Anarchy in the arena match build was in full effect. It is going to be chaotic, and I'm going to enjoy every single minute of it. Roppongi Vice. This is Trent Beretta and Rocky Romero. I love Rocky Romero. I think Rocky Romero is really good. Trent Beretta and Rocky Romero, they took on FTR. This is Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships. This was a very slow start between both teams. Roppongi Vice then took over. Coming back from commercial, Dax came in. He lit up Trent and Romero. Dax with a German suplex barrage. Rocky then saved the match. Roppongi Vice with double knees. We had a guillotine drop kick by Rocky Romero, and Dax kicked out. We had some back and forth roll-ups. We had a strong zero on Dax, but Cash Wheeler saved the match by shoving Rocky Romero into Trent to break up the pin. All of a sudden, United Empire, this is Jeff Cobb and Great Khan, showed up and caused a disqualification. Very rare DQ in AEW. We never see this. This was probably the second or third DQ that we've ever seen in AEW. We had Jeff Cobb hitting a doctor bomb to, I believe it was Dax, through the timekeeper's table. Then we had another table being brought out, and Great Khan with an Iron Claw slam to Trent Beretta through another table. This was actually great. I have no issue with this. And the reason why is because everything that AEW does is for a reason. They don't just do shit for no reason. Every single match has a meaning behind it. Every single match has purpose behind it. This had a underlying purpose behind it because a lot of people thought that Forbidden Door was just going to be a match in which, or a show rather, in which they were just going to throw dream matches together with no build. This is not something with no build. No. This is a scenario in which we are getting a legit build. And now we have the first bit of a New Japan Pro Wrestling invasion and the first bit of build towards Forbidden Door. And we could very well get a triple threat match between United Empire, FTR, and Roppongi Vice for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships. And I am going to enjoy any minute of it. I don't mind this DQ because it's rarely done. And again, like I said, every move that AEW makes has a purpose. This was purposeful, and this was a great impact that United Empire made. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how this transpires and what match we could potentially get at Forbidden Door between these three teams. Ricky Starks. Revolution is televised. Swerve Strickland and Jungle Boy. This was absolutely the match of the night. Great stuff here by all three men. Ricky Starks, I love me some Ricky Starks, man. Ricky Starks and Swerve Strickland. Those two, man, they're my top two favorites in the AEW midcard right now. Swerve and Ricky Starks, they are two that I would absolutely have at the top of the card in a world title feud in a few years. I love what these two are doing. Great stuff right here. This was quick, fast-paced to start off. Jungle Boy obviously is no slouch either. Jungle Boy had an early advantage. Starks sent Swerve and Jungle Boy into the post and barricade respectfully. Coming back from commercial, Swerve with a punt kick. Jungle Boy then came in with a Hurricane Rana to Swerve off of the apron to the floor. So Swerve landed hard. Starks caught an angle slam by Jungle Boy, a modified angle slam. Swerve had Jungle Boy on the top rope. Starks was sent to the floor. Jungle Boy went for a reverse Rana, but Swerve landed on his feet. Jungle Boy didn't know what to think. He's like mouthing to himself, what the fuck? Holy shit. This was great. All of a sudden, Starks came in. He hit a spear on Swerve and a Meishinuku driver on Jungle Boy. Swerve broke it up. Starks then with the Rochambeau to Swerve. Jungle Boy then came in with a snare trap. He pulled him back into the middle of the ring. He hit the house call, did Swerve, on Jungle Boy, and then Swerve went up to the top and hit the Swerve stomp on Ricky Starks in the middle of the ring, and Swerve gets the win in an awesome fucking match. Afterwards, Powerhouse Hobbs and Luchasaurus came out, and we had a huge hoss fight, a big melee. All of a sudden, Keith Lee came out marching to the ring as only he can do. I love the way that Keith Lee walks to the ring. He just walks with such passion, such conviction. He's like, yeah, I know how good I am, and I'm going to kick your ass. I'm going to look good doing it. Love Keith Lee. We had a big man face-off in which Keith Lee hit a fucking corkscrew plancha over the top onto both men, and it looked great. Really great stuff. And this match at Double or Nothing, very unpredictable. Very unpredictable. I'd be okay with either of these three teams winning. That's how good all these three teams are. I'd be okay with either of those three teams winning. I would not bat an eye. Thunder Rosa. Very good promo here by Thunder Rosa selling her match with Serena Deeb. So Tony Schiavone interviewed Thunder Rosa. She came out with no face paint. She was vulnerable, so to speak. She talked about her journey and how Serena Deeb is not a champion. The crowd chanted for Thunder Rosa. She told Serena Deeb, if you want to blame someone for your shortcomings, blame yourself. And on Sunday, Mel goes to the back. Mel's not coming out. The war paint will come on. And on Sunday, La Mera Mera will get you for disrespecting Tony, Dustin, and me. I am the AEW Women's Champion, Thunder Rosa, and I will defeat you and I will haunt you forever. I'm going to throw it out there. Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker was perhaps the best AEW women's match of the year thus far inside that steel cage, but I'm throwing it out there. I think that Serena Deeb and Thunder Rosa, they're going to put on a match that is going to be looked at as the best pure women's wrestling match of the entire fucking year for AEW. I think that that's going to be the best pure women's wrestling match to date in AEW. It's going to be great. Britt Baker versus Toni Storm. This was an Owen Hart Cup semifinals match. Decent match, but this was a bracket buster if I've ever seen one. So, very technical early on. Storms got sent into the steps. Coming back from commercial, both women traded strikes. We had a super kick by Britt Baker, swinging DDT by Storm, and a hip attack. We had an Alabama slam. Baker then hit an air raid crash for a 2. Jamie Hayter then came out. Britt Baker told Jamie Hayter to go away. Britt Baker then hit a twisting neck breaker on Toni Storm for a 2. Storm went then with a German suplex and a swinging DDT on the floor. Toni was then bleeding from her nose. Baker all of a sudden rolled up Toni Storm with her hand on the ropes for the win. And Britt Baker advances over Toni Storm in a solid match, but a very surprising ending. I know a lot of people had Toni Storm winning the whole thing. But I look back on it, and I'm thinking to myself, you know what? Maybe this was the right route. Maybe this was the right route. And I say that because Toni Storm just got there. Toni Storm just got there. She is not going to be given the world after she just got there. The only individuals that have really risen to prominence after being there for merely a cup of coffee is FTR. They were AEW World Tag Team Champions within 3 months. Not everyone's going to be like FTR. Baker advancing, that presents an interesting scenario because now we have an actual story in the finals with Ruby Soho and Britt Baker. And now Ruby Soho is in a scenario where she could potentially beat Britt Baker. And if that's the case, I would absolutely do that. This is a great scenario because Ruby Soho, after the last 2 times that she was in a big match scenario, losing to Britt Baker and then losing in the TBS Championship Tournament Finals to Jade Cargill, this is a great scenario because now Ruby Soho can finally get her just due. She's paid enough dues in AEW, and I would absolutely give the tournament to Ruby Soho. Could they give it to Britt Baker? Possibly, but I don't think Britt Baker needs it. I think Britt Baker should just go into a tournament, a tournament rematch feud with Toni Storm. They could revisit that feud, and they could be feuding for a little bit. Maybe Jamie Hayter turns on Britt Baker. Maybe Double or Nothing could be the start of Ruby Soho and her ascent to the top, and Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker, they could go into a feud afterwards. Could very well happen. But Ruby Soho winning the tournament, that would be the best possible route because Ruby Soho, she's well overdue. She's well fucking overdue. And I can see her turning heel after what happened on Rampage, which we're going to talk about. I can see her turning heel and feuding with Thunder Rosa. That would be great. That would be awesome, actually. Main event. Kyle O'Reilly versus Samoa Joe. Owen Hart Cup semifinals match. This was a very good match. Very good semifinals match and a very good main event. Much, much, much better than last week's match. Kyle O'Reilly and Samoa Joe, they started off with some stiff strikes and some stiff punches. Joe with some stiff strikes like only he can. Joe with a snap suplex. O'Reilly then caught Joe with an arm wrencher, and the arm was the target of Kyle O'Reilly. We had a diving knee to the shoulder by O'Reilly, and then an arm breaker. O'Reilly was in control of Samoa Joe's arm. Coming back from commercial, Joe came back with a leg trip roll, an atomic drop, big boot, and a senton for a 2. We had a big leg lariat by Joe for a 2. O'Reilly then with a Kimura lock. He transitioned into the Fujiwara armbar. Joe then got to the ropes. Joe and O'Reilly went back and forth, strike for strike. O'Reilly with a PK. He tried to roll up Joe, but Joe transitioned into the Coquina clutch, and O'Reilly passed out as Samoa Joe is going to the finals against Adam Cole, baby. And I do believe Adam Cole is going to win the Owen Hart Cup tournament. And it's going to be a great thing to see. It's going to be a great thing to see. Very good match. Very good match. And a great go-home show. AEW, they're hitting their stride, man. They've hit their stride, and they are really putting out the best possible show that they could put out. And I'm very much looking forward to the show tomorrow. It's going to be a big fucking show tomorrow. Stacked. Stacked. 13 likes, people. Just 2 more away from the goal. 13 likes on the button. If you guys have not already done so, share out the stream on all platforms of social media. We are nearing 2 hours live. And we're going to be live again tomorrow at 2 p.m. for the rundown for Double or Nothing with Mr. Mitch Goffsky. So do not miss the rundown. That is tomorrow. But right now, we're going to go over AEW Rampage, which was an excellent show. Rampage was live. The show flowed very, very nicely. We had a lot of great material on the show, and I'm very much looking forward to what was being sold on Rampage for Double or Nothing. Really good stuff. Really good stuff. Rampage started off with Matt Sydal versus Bryan Danielson. This was an excellent wrestling match. I would even say this was actually pay-per-view worthy. This match was pay-per-view worthy. And the main event was also pay-per-view worthy. Both of these 2 matches were pay-per-view worthy. Sydal and Bryan, we had some nice back and forth. Sydal then with a standing tornillo. Coming back from commercial, Styles with a Hurricane Rana pin for a 2. This was a great move by Sydal. So what happened was Sydal was on the top rope. He was going for a diving Meteora. Bryan then caught Sydal mid-Meteora and then rolled through, transitioned into a single-leg Boston Crab. This was a phenomenal transition. This was great. Great transition right there. It was in deep. He then transitioned into an ankle lock, a heel hook, but Sydal got to the ropes. We had some stiff kicks by Bryan. Bryan were on the top rope. Sydal with a sunset flip powerbomb. Bryan just kicked out. All of a sudden, we had a Busaiku knee by Danielson, elbows to the head, and then we got a guillotine choke. Guillotine choke, and Sydal passes out. This was a pay-per-view worthy match to kick off Rampage. Awesome fucking stuff. And Bryan beats Seidel, and he advances to the Anarchy in the Arena match on Sunday for Double or Nothing. It's going to be great. It's going to be good. Young Bucks. This was fucking hilarious right here. The Young Bucks, they came dressed as the Hardys. It was Matt Jackson was Matt Hardy, and Nick Jackson had the face paint on. He was Jeff Hardy. Not only that, they came out with David Heath, otherwise known as Gangrel. That was fucking awesome. I was laughing my ass off. This was great. They took on Taylor Rust, who's the former Tyler Rust, and John Cruz. They were even doing the Hardys moveset. This was fucking awesome. And I want everyone to understand there's a difference between good sports entertainment and bad sports entertainment. This was great sports entertainment. This was great. They actually then attacked Gangrel. They went for the BTE trigger, but the Hardys came out. Brandon Cutler, who was dressed up as Lita, Cutler ended up eating an Impaler DDT by Gangrel, and then a Twist of Fate Swanton Bomb combination. I'm very much looking forward to this match. This is going to be an awesome fucking match. This is going to be a great fucking match. I can't wait. It's going to be great. Billy Gunn. He attacked Dante Martin before his match against Max Caster. And we get Max Caster versus Dante Martin. Aubrey Edwards actually ejected the Gun Club and Anthony Bowens. This was a decent little match here with Max Caster and Dante Martin. Nothing special. Caster ended up taking the loss after Dante Martin hit the nosedive, and Dante Martin gets a big win or another win added to his record. You know what I would love to see? I'd love to see Dante Martin versus Scorpio Sky for the TNT Championship. That's what I would go with. Dante Martin, Scorpio Sky for the TNT Championship. I'd love to see that. Men of the Year. The Men of the Year. Dan Lambert. He was in the ring. We got a new TNT title belt presented to Scorpio Sky. Sky, shout out to Sky. He looks great. Sky was wearing this red and black suit. Almost reminded me of DJ Storm's colors right there. Red and black suit. He looked fucking sharp as ever. So shout out to Scorpio Sky there. He got a Lakers-esque TNT championship. The TNT championship was yellow, gold, and it had a purple strap. A Lakers-inspired TNT title belt. It looked great. Ethan Page, then cut another great promo. All of a sudden, Frankie Kazarian, Sammy Guevara, and Ty Conti, they were shown on the Titantron. They broke into the American Top Team dojo, and they destroyed their belt cases. They wanted the six-man tag. Sky then gave it to them. It's Sky, Page, and Paige Van Zandt versus Frankie Kazarian, Sammy Guevara, and Ty Conti. And if they lose, they will never challenge for the TNT title so long as Sky holds it. I'm actually very interested in seeing what Paige Van Zandt can do. I think that she's actually going to impress. And I think that we could very well have a big athlete on our hands with Paige Van Zandt. Maybe she could be the one to take down Thunder Rosa. Who knows? But Scorpio Sky, I'm loving what he's doing with American Top Team. I'm loving the new title. It looks great. I'm loving the way that they broke into American Top Team's dojo. That was great. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing what Paige Van Zandt can do. Should be an entertaining six-man tag or six-person tag. Main event. Chris Statlander and Ruby Soho. This is the Owen Hart Cup Tournament semifinals match. This was a pay-per-view worthy match and the best match of the Women's Owen Hart Cup Tournament that I've ever seen. This was awesome. These two worked so well together. I don't know if they knew each other before this. I don't know if they were friends before or they worked together in some independent promotions, but man, it's like these two have been fighting for decades. These two meshed so well with each other. It is unbelievable. We had a very nice technical back and forth early on. Statlander absolutely fucking rocked Soho. I believe it was a lariat. Absolutely rocked Soho. Coming back from commercial, Statlander with a fireman's carry on the top. Soho transitioned into a Hurricane Rana. Statlander came back with a powerbomb for a 2. Ruby Soho hit the no future, but Statlander fell out of the ring. Soho then with a Hurricane Rana to the floor, and then back in the ring, she hit a tornado shoulder breaker and then locked in a Kimura lock. Statlander got to the ropes. This was a great transition by Statlander right here. Reverse Alabama slam. Reverse Alabama slam into the fucking turnbuckle. Then she hit an O'Connor roll German suplex and then a Falcon Arrow. Ruby Soho just kicked out. Soho then rolled up Statlander for the win. This was a very good match. The best women's match of the tournament thus far. Awesome stuff. Britt Baker then came out while Soho was talking to Tony Schiavone, and Soho said, "You've had a receipt coming to you since Dynamite Grand Slam, and Sunday I'm cashing in that damn receipt." This should be an awesome fucking match. And Soho, she was getting heavy boos. Statlander, there's no way that Statlander cannot go into a TBS championship title feud with Cargill. This right here, and with how over Chris Statlander is, it's time to capitalize on her. I think that Chris Statlander should be the one to take the TBS championship off of Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill, she's done all she can with that title. I think that now we are on the road to getting Chris Statlander as the top tier individual to take that title off of Cargill. Statlander is well overdue for a title. And then we got Ruby Soho. She's well overdue to beat Britt Baker. I'm going with Ruby to take the title or take the win over Baker, and Statlander to take the title off of Cargill. Great stuff right there. Excellent episode of Rampage. I'll tell you what wasn't excellent. It was SmackDown. SmackDown sucked. The best thing about SmackDown was probably the opening. The opening was probably the only interesting thing about SmackDown. So the Usos came out. They took the mics, and they wanted everyone to praise Roman. They talked about being in the WWE for 12 years. They talked about the cheers and the boos. They were coming off very sympathetic. They were coming off as if they were baby faces. He thanked the audience, did Jey Uso. And then all of a sudden, he goes, "For the past 12 years, we've needed nobody." That was excellent right there. The Usos being dicks. The Usos fooling all of us. The Usos being absolute pricks. That's a great thing to see. I loved what the Usos did right there. Coming off as baby faces and then just acting like narcissistic pricks. That was awesome. That was fucking great. So they talked about how the Bloodline was dripping in championship gold, and they trashed Orton and how he was at home. You the twos, we the ones, all that other good stuff. All of a sudden, Shinsuke Nakamura then came out, and he challenged the Usos to a tag team title match. He said he wanted to fight you two. His partner wanted to fight you two by himself, but I asked to join. His partner was none other than Matt Riddle. And we got a big brawl with Riddle and Nakamura standing tall, and it looks like that could be the tag team title match set for Hell in a Cell. Now, I appreciate Michael Cole. And the reason why I say that is because Michael Cole, he said Shinsuke Nakamura and Matt Riddle's tag team partners were both taken out by the Usos. Now they're looking for revenge. So it's still a makeshift tag team, and it just exposes the problems with WWE and how bad their tag team division is. They're still fucking pushing makeshift fucking tag teams. However, I will say that I appreciate Michael Cole attempting to make sense of this. Nakamura's partner, Rick Boogs, was injured by the Usos. Matt Riddle's tag team partner, Randy Orton, was injured by the Usos. They're joining together because they want revenge on the Usos. I appreciate Michael Cole trying to make sense of it, but it's still a makeshift tag team. Shotzi Blackheart, she was in the back trying to hype up some women in the back. Raquel was getting ready for a championship contenders match with Ronda Rousey. Why? I don't know. Ronda and Raquel, this went to a no contest. Why? Because Natalya and Shayna Baszler attacked, causing a DQ. Ronda and Raquel then took them both out. We go to commercial. And what do you think happens? We get a tag team match. For the love of Christ, stop, and I mean stop booking a singles match, have it end in a DQ, and then book a tag team match right after they come back from commercial. If you wanted to do the fucking tag team match, just book the fucking tag team match to begin with. Why is that so hard? Why? Is it really that hard just to say, we're not going to book the singles match and have it end in a DQ. We're going to book the tag team match to begin with because that is our end goal. Why not just do that? And based off of what happened, it's not like you don't have any competition for Ronda Rousey anyway. We know that Raquel Gonzalez is inevitably going to be getting another match because Sasha Banks walked the fuck out. Unbelievable. Raquel Rodriguez defeated Shayna Baszler with the Chincona Bomb as Ronda and Raquel took the victory. Who gives a shit? Who gives a fuck? Seriously, who gives? We know we're going to end up getting another match and Ronda Rousey is going to retain. What do you think is going to happen? Ronda's going to retain. Los Lotharios, they took on Jinder Mahal and the... What the fuck did they call him? What the fuck did they call him? The 7-foot seething giant or some shit like that? What was it? The 7-foot Sumerian, Punjabian. What the fuck did they call him? I don't know. Who fucking cares what they called him? Either way, they didn't come out initially. Jinder Mahal was looking for Shanky. He found him in a locker room dancing to Jinder Mahal's theme music. And ironically, that was probably the best thing on this fucking show. Shanky dancing to Jinder Mahal's theme music was probably the best thing on the fucking show. And that's a fucking sad thing to say. I mean, I appreciate Shanky showing some fucking personality. The crowd was actually chanting Shanky. Hey, good for Shanky, I guess. Los Lotharios ended up getting the win as Shanky danced for Samantha Irvin. You gotta watch yourself, Shanky, because we got Ricochet in the back. I'm not sure Ricochet's gonna take too kindly to you. We had Max Dupree. Max Dupree is now officially a member of the SmackDown roster. We'll see where this goes. I mean, I'm guessing that LA Knight's going to make this work. Listen, LA Knight's great, and he'll make this work, but holy fuck, man. Holy fuck. Why is it that you need to change these individuals' name? Why is it that you need to change their names when they had something great going for themselves in NXT, and now they have to start from scratch? Why? I don't get it. Kevin Owens, he showed up on SmackDown. He hosted a Kevin Owens show with a member of the Bloodline. It was just Sami Zayn. So obviously, Sami Zayn, he was asked by Owens to come on over to Raw to help him with this Elias shit. Sami said, now's not a good time, Oos. Owens then said, Sami, you're not in the Bloodline. Owens then called Sami a moron. Sami got mad, and he said that Ezekiel and Elias are two different people. Owens got pissed. Sami called Owens a liar. Owens then said, Zayn has gone too far, and the bloodline was actually mentioned to come out, but it didn't happen. Owens said the bloodline couldn't care less about Sami. Sami then said, you don't know what you're talking about. He left. Owens then was shoved by Sami Zayn, and Sami Zayn left. Owens then looked at the ring crew who were taking down his show. They were taking down the shit from his show, and he gave both members of the in-ring crew that were taking down the shit from the Kevin Owens show, he gave them both stunners. What the fuck was even the point of this segment? Seriously, what the fuck was even the point of this segment? It legitimately looks like that this segment was just there. Where is this going? This shit, whatever they're doing, Owens and Zayn right now are two of the most mistreated individuals in the WWE right now. Kevin Owens needs to be a babyface. Heel Kevin Owens has run its course. Make him a babyface, get him away from this Ezekiel bullshit, and Sami Zayn's a fucking jobber right now. You know what Zayn needs to do? He needs to be the underdog from the underground again. That's what Sami Zayn needs to be. It is absolutely fucking ridiculous, and I'm sick and tired of coming on here and saying that Sami Zayn's a fucking jobber. Sami Zayn deserves a hell of a lot more than what he's been given. Really. He deserves a hell of a lot more than what he's been given. Shit needs to change. Ricochet and Drew Gulak versus Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser. Ludwig Kaiser actually got the win here. I thought that Gunther was going to get the win, but Ludwig Kaiser actually got the win, and Ricochet was not the one pinned. So, surprise, surprise there. A champion did not lose via pinfall. Ludwig Kaiser hit a punt kick on Drew Gulak and won, as Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser continued to remain undefeated. Gunther then hit a punt kick to Ricochet, and then another punt kick to Gulak. So, if the end goal here is Gunther versus Ricochet for the Intercontinental Championship, I think that would be a great fucking match. If they give him the ample amount of time, I think that would be awesome. We'll see what happens there, and I guess that Gunther is going to win the Intercontinental Championship. Seeing that McIntyre, he's going to defeat Roman Reigns, I guess that giving Gunther the Intercontinental Championship would probably be the best route to go here. I don't know. Sheamus, Ridge Holland, and Pete Dunne, a.k.a. Butch, they took on the New Day, and who was their partner? It was Drew McIntyre. Who gives a shit? I don't give a shit. What did you think happened? We get a Claymore by Drew on Ridge, and then a diving elbow by Xavier Woods for the win. Do you give a shit? I don't give a shit. You know why I don't give a shit? Because SmackDown sucks elephant cock. If it's not obvious before, it certainly is now. What a shit show. Seriously. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this edition of the Lightning Flash Update. I would like to thank each and every single one of you who tuned into this video. I greatly appreciate all of you. You all have done a phenomenal job at keeping me on my toes and making sure that the DJ Storms brand is the most successful, the most prominent, and the most vital non-paid YouTube brand in the IWC. I hope you guys have an awesome, awesome day. I'll be back tomorrow for the rundown. That's right, the rundown for AEW Double or Nothing with Mitch Govsky at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And then, of course, on Monday, Memorial Day, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, it is going to be none other than myself flying solo for the rewind for Double or Nothing. And then on Tuesday, we got the rundown for Hell in a Cell at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time with Mr. Jay Aletto. It's going to be big. It's going to be good. We're going to have a great week. The Summer of Storms kickoff tour has started off in a phenomenal way, and it's only going to get better from here on out. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm DJ Storms. This has been the Lightning Flash Update, and I hope you guys have an awesome night. And remember, people, who runs the IWC? Who but DJ Motherfucking Storms. I'll catch you guys tomorrow.